Well, good evening, Shop Free Mart family, and I like to say wellness warriors. You know, it's important to have the right mindset of who we call ourselves, right? What do we call ourselves? How do we speak to ourselves? Because actually, our voice is the main voice that we believe in. So before I get started, let me just make sure I can be heard. I'm flying solo tonight. Coach Pate has an engagement. So I'm going to be solo. So can someone please give me a sound check? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if I'm coming in Lima Charlie, like we'd say in the military. If you can hear me loud and clear, that would be very helpful. Can anybody hear me? I see you guys talking amongst each other. Look, have fun. But can anyone hear me? Can I get a thumbs up? Testing, testing. One, two, three. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Valerie. I sure do appreciate you. I'm so grateful that you guys are taking time out of your schedule to hang out tonight at the Coach's Corner. I have some exciting information that I'm going to share that comes from one of my coaches, and I definitely want to let you know that none of us are there yet, right? We're still going along the journey, gathering information as we go, listening to subject matter experts, discerning in our spirit what makes sense to us, what fits our lifestyle, and in all truthfulness, what some things we're going to have to let go, right? Because some things are just have a chokehold on us, and we're not taking actions that we know that we should do. Someone says that usually when you know better, if people knew better, they would do better. I like to say, if you know better, you'll grow better if you apply the new learning. So tonight we're going to talk about brain health. We've been talking about that on the Shop Free Mart Facebook page, which is shopfreemart.com. I'm sorry, which is facebook.com/shop free mart. And on there, you know, cognitive skills, memory, protecting your brain, doing activities that make sense, right? Like, so you don't want to necessarily be doing bungee jumping. That's not something that is weighing into the protection of your brain. So we want to be thinking safe. We want to little things. I mean, literally, my son did a book report one time, and it was about the brain. He was, I want to be a neurosurgeon when I grow up. And he was just like really into the brain. And he listed activities that we need to do and just make a part of our life. Everything from, wearing a helmet when you're riding a bicycle, things like that. But one of the simplest activities I remember is looking both ways when you cross the street. I mean, something so simple, but so relevant, right? People are still getting hit by cars and doing things that can be avoidable, right? So I want to make sure that we are wise in our choices and that we are around long enough to enjoy all the benefits we're getting from Shop Free Mart. So what we're specifically going to talk about is what you put in your basket at the supermarket. What you put, if you're supposed to eat some healthy things in your home, but you never shop for them in the supermarket, then guess what? You're not going to eat them in your home. If all you bought were cookies and Twinkies and Doritos, that's some kind of salad you got there, but that's not going to be the thing that's going to get you over the hump and give you a quality journey. So I definitely want to take a break for a moment and say hello to, the family, right? Hey, Justina, how are you? Valerie, it's always a pleasure. My home girl from Baltimore. Well, she's really from California by way of Mississippi, but we'll say Baltimore. Hey, Beverly, two Beverlys, north and right. How are you ladies doing? Good to see you. And I see Ronald out there representing. Hey, Ronald. Carolyn, it's good to see you. Oh my goodness, it's a blessing to see you here tonight. Welcome, Marcus. Always a pleasure representing Chicago. I'm sure your buddy Tim will be on sooner rather than later. He's always faithful, a great team player. So let's dive in. So I'm going to give you some, hey Tim, how are you? I knew you'd be there. Yes. I'm going to give you something that's going to sound like conflicting information right from the start. So I'm going to invite you I want you to take notes because this is important, but I want you to take loose notes because at the end of this, I'm going to take you through a test. that's going to get your brain engaged and get you to really start thinking how you can be creative in learning things and remembering them and holding on to them, right? For future processing. What's the good of learning information that slips through your hands? You can't hold on to it. So let's do that. So when I first got this training from my brain coach, I literally have a brain coach. His name is Jim Quick. And he gave me this training, and I thought it was so good that I'm pressed to share it with you. Because like I said, we're taking these great Shop Free Mart products. We want to be thinking of what can we eat that's not going to counter the products, but that's going to, coincide. That's going to be a parallel to what we're putting into our bodies, right? And onto our skin. We always talk about we want to be detoxified. We want to get the toxins out of our bodies. We want to, have glowing skin and, a healthy heart. Well, we have to feed ourselves the right things, because that old adage, you are what you eat, yes, that still rings true. So I'm giving credit to Jim Quick, right? He's the guy, but I want you to take this and make it your own. And let's begin. So there are 10 foods. There are several foods, of course, but there are 10 that I'm going to hone in on tonight that are going to be a blessing for your brain, So I want to say up front that it's interesting how we come into society in a way where we just say, you know what, something happens and it continues to happen, and we make jokes about it, and then we kind of succumb to it and say, that's okay, that's the new norm, and we joke about it. And the thing I'm talking about, which you might guess is right now, is senior moments. We talk about it, oh, I'm just having a senior moment, and we giggle, but really, it's really not funny. It really isn't, because in a moment's time, you're kind of waving a white flag. And if you wave the white flag enough, you may well just surrender and not stress. And when I say stress, I mean stretch. I mean get stronger, because your memory literally is like a muscle. And if you lessen the time of using it, you lose, its rigidity, you lose its strength, you lose its power, and you're literally waving a white flag, and you don't do things. And I'm going to say some things that we're all guilty of, me included, right? So I'll give you one big thing. If you can agree with this, just type in I agree. Who here has just pretty much stopped memorizing telephone numbers? If that's you, say that's me, or say I agree. Type in remembering your telephone numbers. I was driving with my husband the other day, and I said, you know what? I remember like my grandmother's phone number. She's passed on. And I remember her phone number. I will meet you in 10 minutes, but I'll remember my grandmother's phone number from 10 years ago quicker than I'll remember your brand new phone number. So that long-term memory is there, right? So my grandmother's phone number and maybe 5 phone numbers from my, different homes I lived in. But that's pretty much my realm of what I have not so much worked at to retain, but it's just there because I used it so much. Okay, CJ, thank you for your honesty, CJ. You're probably the only one who remembered what I said to type it in. Thank you, guys. So you guys can feel me. You can feel me. We're not exercising our brains into the best capacity that we can. And another thing that I noticed is multiplication. Mathematical skills. Just basic, simple math skills. We are so quick to pull out our digital calculator just to do simple math, right? It's just like boom, 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 boom. Hey, how many people are coming and how much food do we need? And no one's going to divide that when you can whip out your calculator and do it for you. So again, your brain, it's almost like, check this out. Your brain, all the cells are standing up. Hey, she needs me. And then I say, I'm going to pull out my calculator, and the brains, all the cells say, maybe next time. Maybe she'll, because I am pretty smart. That's what the cells are saying. We can do this, yes. But if you just keep dissing them and pushing to the side, they're like, well, we're just watching TV and eating popcorn because apparently she's not going to need us for a while, right? So I just want you to weigh things in the balance. So let's talk about your diet. And whenever I use the word diet, I don't mean, restrictive eating. I just mean what you're putting into your mouth. Let's talk about your diet and how you can eat 10 specific foods that are beneficial for you. Let's start with the first one. The first food is avocados. Avocados. Do you know that I did not eat avocados until I became an adult. They just weren't in my space. Never thought about them, and literally as an older adult, I'm just being truthful here. As an older adult, I didn't even know that guacamole and avocados were the same thing. Didn't know it. No one shared it with me. It just never came up in conversation. And so now, of course, now I get it. You want to eat avocados. Avocados have, healthy fats for you, right? The healthy fats that are going to, give your brain the blood travel, the transportation through your brain, the cells. That's the most healthy choice. You definitely need fat. So that's one thing that I want you to be cognizant about and discerning about when people say, oh, fats are bad. Well, there are good fats and there are bad fats. And we're going to talk about the good ones tonight so that you can include them in your diet. Now, I do have some notes here because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. The avocados are the healthy fat. It's a fatty food. They are, monosaturated fat. So, that's the fat that goes through your blood vessels and is not stopping and causing jams and, artery clogging, things of that nature. Avocados is number one. Number two is blueberries. Blueberries. So most of us know, I guess maybe recently, maybe 10 years ago, they just started pushing blueberries. Oh, this is a high antioxidant food, super healthy for you. Let me say this, for my picture, when I think of oxidation, I think of like a tricycle sitting outside in the rain over time, and it just starts rusting, right? Like the rain just wears it away and it rusts, turns into iron, the silver parts, they rust. Well, the same thing happens to our body when they're not getting what they need, right? There's this, when we say oxidation, we want antioxidation to keep it from rusting on the inside. Blueberries are a fantastic food to do just that. The next food is broccoli. Oh my gosh, I was eating broccoli before I knew it was good for me. It's like such an easy food to prepare. And I want to say this, a lot of foods I want to speak on are best raw, right? So you may have to get past that. There are some things where people say, oh, I can't do this. I don't like the way it tastes in my mouth and this and that. But I'm encouraging you to shift. So raw food has what it has. Oh, let's use broccoli specifically. If you imagine broccoli in its raw form, it's like I like to think of like a janitor's brush. It's hard and kind of rough and kind of scrapey, right? So imagine that going into your system, just scraping out your intestines, cleaning things out. So the fiber in the broccoli is helping to, clean you out, to keep the pipelines open. Compare that raw broccoli to I'm going to take it to two levels, right? I'm going to say steamed broccoli, which is what I eat a lot as well, steamed broccoli. So when steamed broccoli goes into you, it's more soft and it's mushy and it's more, glob, like a glob going down. It's not going down with a purpose. It's just kind of sliding down the tubes, right? So we want to consider steamed broccoli. And I will tell you, the worst broccoli to type to eat. And I did this, because you look, like I said, when you know better, you do better. And I know a lot of people do as well. You get your vegetables and you cook them. Oh my gosh. And you literally cook the life out of them. That's the first step of death. And then the second death is we put sauces and creams and butters and cheeses. Like this much is broccoli and this much is other stuff on top of it. So you really don't even know the broccoli is under there, right? So raw is best. It's clean. It's going in. And remember what food is supposed to do. It's a nutrient. It's a nutrient, interchange. It's going in. It's feeding your body, and it's coming out the other end. Right. So when you clog it up with the cheeses and things like that, there are so many detours that are going on, so many bypasses, so many, traffic jams. And it's the food you're eating that's sitting here, it can literally be sitting, let's say a little bit further down for a week and not passing through. Raw fruits and vegetables, things of that nature, go in and they go out. Literally, that can happen in hours. So we want to consider what we do with this great food that we're getting. So we have avocados first, then we have blueberries, and then we have broccoli. So broccoli is great for the fiber and also for vitamin K. Vitamin K is excellent for your cognitive function, helping you to connect the dots, the wiring of your neurons in your brain. You need to be able to finish sentences, to be able to finish thoughts, to be able to, what was I talking about? Sometimes I'm on the phone with another person and we'll get interrupted and they'll come back to the phone and they'll say, well, what was I talking about? What was I saying? Like they're not making the connection from a 2-minute gap. And so we want to be able to do that, string the harness through in our conversations and our thought processes as well. So broccoli is the next thing. After broccoli is green leafy vegetables. So we're talking about the spinaches and the chards and the kales and the collard greens, right? One trick that I learned a long time ago was when you go out, so people, you can do a good thing, but you can do it bad, and then it becomes not a good thing. You're not getting the most bang for your buck. So what I'm talking about specifically is salads. So people get salads a lot. Oh, I'm eating a salad, great. And you probably think I'm going to talk about pouring a lot of salad dressing on it. That's an issue too, but that's not what I'm going to bring up. I'm going to bring up the base of your salad. And it dawned on me, that there's a huge difference between, let's say, romaine lettuce and iceberg lettuce. Romaine lettuce is, deep and rich, or even like a Caesar salad, that lettuce is darker green, right? Iceberg lettuce is like a pale yellow white thing going on, right? So we know that the darker it is, it's like pulling, the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is in this item that we're putting into our body. It's from the sun, it's enriching, and the white, looks bleached. I know that's the color of iceberg lettuce, but it's not going to be as potent in your body. So for me, whenever I order salad, I get something dark. So, give me a romaine lettuce base. That can make a big difference, over time, that's what you're putting into your body. So the green leafy vegetables, this is what you're getting with them. You're getting vitamin E and folate. Again, things that are going to help with your brain processing and helping you with your memory. The next item we want to look at, now this is probably something that a lot of people are using these days, is coconut oil. So when I was first turned on to coconut oil, it's quite an amazing choice, right? This is another one of those, it's a medium chain fatty acid. It's another healthy fat for us. When I was turned on to coconut oil, it was like coconut oil is like, to me, apple cider vinegar or maybe lemon, meaning that there are so many things that it can do for you, so many healthy things, right? So coconut oil, for example, so I bought something from the fish market today, and I was going to cook it. And the gentleman said, oh, and it was this beautiful picture of it, just with this nice, glaze. And I was like, oh, that looks great. Now, is what I have, this raw food here, scallops, is this going to look like your picture? He's like, oh yeah, just, put it in olive oil, he told me. And so I came home and I just said, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use coconut oil. So there are some things that happen with olive oil, because for a long time, that's what we were told. Oh, get extra virgin olive oil. That's the healthiest choice you can make, right? That's not true. I mean, maybe it never was true and we didn't know, but we know now, as that oil heats up, there's some toxins that kick in that do more damage to your body than not. And I believe that there probably are very healthy olive oils, but they're very expensive, and like a bottle of olive oil might cost, let's say, $15. And that's kind of a, knockoff. If you really want like the healthiest, purest, because we know olives are healthy for us. But if you want the healthiest, pure olive oil, you're going to pay anywhere from 4 to 6 times that price. So keep that in mind. You can't just get, the store-brand Piggly Wiggly's olive oil and think that you're good to go, because you won't be, right? So Piggly Wiggly is a southern. Let me take a station break. Piggly Wiggly is a southern-owned chain of supermarkets. Just in case you don't know. Okay, so olive oil. I'm sorry, coconut oil can be used for so many things. Cooking, it can have a high heat capacity, and it just is healthy and it's safe for you. That's what I cooked in. People, it's kind of new. And when I started using coconut oil to cook in, I thought that it would like all my food would taste like coconutty, but it doesn't. So that was very pleasant for me to hear, to experience. So coconut oil is great. One of the things, now this is a kind of an aside, but I just want to tell you how incredible coconut oil is. Has anyone here ever heard of oil pulling? Oil pulling. Have you heard of that? This is relevant because we have the health of our mouth is related to our heart health, right? So, we can have a mouth that's inflamed, have bacteria in our mouth that literally flows through our bloodstream and gets into our heart and causes heart malfunctions, arterial challenges. So, if you can keep your mouth clean, you are literally helping your heart health and, of course, your mouth health as well. So, there's something called oil pulling. I'm going to give you an assignment. Go check it out. There's tons of articles you can find on it, but basically you put maybe an ounce of oil into your mouth, coconut oil into your mouth, and you swish it around and you leave it there. Literally, like the people who are really good at it can do it for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So you're just walking around doing your chores in your house, and the oil is just in your mouth. And then I think there are like 3 lead oils that you use. Coconut may be one. There may be 2 other approved oils as well, but you'll read it in the articles. And you just leave it in your mouth. And then you go to your trash can. And I was about to say your sink, but let me tell you why you can't even put it in your sink. What this oil does, oh, and while it's in your mouth, you're like, putting it through your teeth and just, squishing it around in your mouth and through your teeth as well. So basically it's touching your whole mouth, the roof of your mouth, your gum line, all of that, your tongue. It's just very thorough. And when you're finished in that 15 to 20-minute window, you literally take like a big paper towel and you put it, put it into, expel it into the paper towel and put the paper towel in the garbage can. What it is extracting from your mouth, the bacteria and literally the heavy, thick levels of toxins, is too toxic to put into the sink. It will literally, do something negative to the water supply. So just as a concerned environmentalist, if you will, I'm sure plenty of people are spitting it into the sink because they just don't care. But I'm saying if you care about the environment, you would put it in a paper towel and put it into the trash can. So that's another oil pulling. Thank you, Valerie. That's another oil pulling example that you can use, and how amazing that these natural products are around us. Thanks for sharing that, CJ. So 20 minutes, that's an incredible amount of time. And you think it kind of gets weird, and it does. It gets a little weird, but all of these are new habits. And once you master the new habit, it's no longer weird. It becomes what you do. So I invite you to try oil pulling. You might like it. It may be something different. And I'll tell you, you'll see, I promise you, if you do research, you'll see some amazing stories. People even having decay in their mouth, like cavities or, mouth issues, pain, and they'll do the oil pulling and their mouth will literally start healing itself. They won't have to have that tooth pulled or other major issues. So, I'm just always excited to give the body what it needs so that it can heal itself. Every time we're in that position, every time we're invited to give the body the best resources, I say, hey, all aboard, let's do it, right? So where are we? So we're down to coconut oil. The next one are eggs. Eggs. Now, this is so funny to me because, you really have to be your own teacher. Because for a long time, do you remember the commercials? Oh, eggs are cholesterol, isn't good for you. Stay away from the egg, only eat the egg whites and this and that, and it's a lot of times we're driven by, Madison Avenue, the advertisement agencies, the TV, the media. You really have to do your research for yourself, so and I parse through things my way. So for a minute, I was eating egg whites because I was, kind of in this bodybuilding scenario contest, and that's what you ate. You ate the egg whites, you ate lean chicken breasts, and all this stuff. So I was doing all that. And after I finished that, so I would literally get like a quart, and it was just egg whites, and I'd pour that little bit in, and fry it up and have eggs, and that was my meal. For like a month, it was for. After that, so when I see these different options to get egg whites, it dawned on me. I'm like, well, let's see, when God made the chicken, he made the chicken with the egg, the white and the yolk all in one. It can't, like, how was he wrong? That's what I started saying. He didn't separate them, so therefore I'm not separated. So I eat the whole egg now. And, I've been able to find this incredible information on 200diseases.com. If somebody would type that in for me, that would be fantastic. 200diseases.com. And I've been sharing it on our Facebook page. There are like 10 very specific and detailed reasons about how and why the egg is great for the human body. So eggs is definitely on this list for vitamin E as well. It helps to improve memory. And you can also go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Shop Free Mart, to check out the eggs listing. I just put like a fact here or there over the last week or so. I've done it once a day. So it's very interesting. The next thing is salmon. Salmon. That pink fish. I just had some tonight for dinner. Salmon, and I have to make a comment about this because, again, industry and what is put out for us and what is driven by money. We always say follow the money and you'll understand whether something is really beneficial for you or whether it's beneficial for someone else's pockets. So right now what's really popular is farm raised fish. And it's all brands, farm raised salmon, catfish, trout, all kind of fish are raised in a scenario. So here's the thing about that. Farms are just like farms, farms for land animals. And our land animals, we know, are undergoing lots of issues with antibiotics and steroid injections. So the steroid injections, of course, are given to these animals so they can grow faster and they can get to market quicker and people can make money more expeditiously. So that says nothing to us. That doesn't help the end user, that we're eating these animals that have been rushed to market. An animal that's supposed to have a 6-month lifespan and it's rushed to market in 8 weeks, right? Because of the steroids, just boosting it up and making it grow faster. So I know when I was pregnant with one of my children, their name shall remain anonymous, so I won't embarrass them. I was pregnant with one of my children, and that child was born, I only have one son. Well, the cat's out of the bag. There you go. So my son was born in March. In December, the preceding December, I was dilated 6 centimeters. So for those of you who may not know the distance before the baby comes, I'm sorry, not 6, I was dilated 4 centimeters. At the full birth, the mother is dilated 10 centimeters. So here it was. So you're not supposed to start dilating until you go into labor. So that's like the course of action. So here it was 3 months before the baby was due, and I'm starting to dilate. And so this is what the doctor said. Hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you steroids for him, because if he comes early, we want to speed up the growth of his organs so that, he'll be able to survive outside the womb. So that's what they did. I went to the doctors and they give me a steroid injection until the baby came. And he came at 9 months. He's chilling out. He came at the regular time. But I just thought it was interesting. So we can manipulate so many things, and we want to be able to decide what are we putting into our body, because some people may say, oh, I don't eat this, or I don't eat that, or I don't take antibiotics, or I don't do steroids. Well, if you're eating animals that do, technically you do. You do. You're eating what they ate. You are the same as they are, you know? And it's funny, you know, so I'm a vegetarian and I eat fish, pescatarian, which I don't even like that name because if you're only eating fish, you're only eating fish. I think there should be a new name for a veggie pescatarian or pesca veggie or something, but I eat fish and vegetables, of course. So when you start to figure out what you're eating and you're looking at fish, should I eat them on the farm? They do the same thing to a farm raised, you know, group of fish. They put antibiotics and steroids into the water so that these fish can grow quicker and come to market quicker. And guess why they also put in the antibiotics in these things? Because they're all of these animals are so close to each other, it's easier for them to catch germs and bacteria and illnesses one from another. So they're just dousing them with all of these, you know, things that are not good for their bodies. So all of this, you know, this pain and torture that these close living animals. Imagine if now I don't think there are anyone here from China, but I used to teach English to Chinese students. So they were learning English, and they're, you know, they can see me, and I can't see them, but I'm teaching them about the American culture. But I sure was interested in their culture as well. And I had students, you know, pilots and engineers and doctors and students and, you know, the whole gamut. And one young lady I was talking to one time, she told me she's a college student and, you know, she wants to get a good job. She wants to speak English so she can keep her options open. And she's in her college room and I'm asking her, so, you know, what's your college room like? Tell me about that. And she tells me she's got like 8 roommates. The 8 people share a room in a dormitory. And I thought, wow, that's a lot. that's close quarters, you know. And she's like, oh yeah, that's the norm. That's what, you know, there's so many people. So imagine like that, or, you know, your fish or your cattle or your chicken, and there are people shoulder to shoulder everywhere you go there. I mean, you can't even breathe. You think your stress level is way up here? Do you think that your anxiety level, you think you're like, move, can you let me breathe? Can you step back, please? You know, and everyone's like that. So you have all these tense animals and then you kill them and then you're taking all that tension into your system and you're wondering where did road rage come from? Why are people so bent out of shape? You know, this is the environment that we're in. So I'm saying all that to say, getting back to salmon, it's better to choose wild caught salmon. That means salmon that are in salmon that are swimming. You know, typically, you know, we're looking at Alaskan salmon, West Coast salmon, Seattle, you know, Pacific raised, that type of salmon. These guys are swimming upstream, downstream. They're like strong as as oxen. That's the salmon we want. And there are other wild fish too. It's not just salmon. So if you have a choice between farm raised anything versus wild, choose the wild. It's a better choice. They're out in nature. You know, it's a more natural thing to put into your body. The only thing you want to look out for is kind of mercury. So you can do your research for that. But at least I'm giving you something to look at, the options. But wild over farm raised is typically the better choice. So we're down to salmon. The next thing, we only have 3 more. The next thing I want to mention is turmeric. Now, turmeric is really I won't say brand new. It's been around for, of course, you know, centuries, but it's in many of our environments, it's a new item to talk about. So we see turmeric in many different forms, right? People see it in tea, you know, hot tea to drink. We see it in seasoning, of course. It's a plant. And we see it in, I've seen it in essential oils. So the bottom line is you want turmeric in your space. It's that orange, spicy, the color is spicy. It's not so spicy in your mouth, but the color is spicy, bright orange coloring. And you want to put this, turmeric is excellent for reducing inflammation. That's what we want they say at the baseline of every sickness and illness is inflammation. Right. At Shop Free Mart, we say, guess what? I don't know which is first. I know it's a close first and second place, but we also say that the base of every illness is also dehydration. We know that a dehydrated body cannot heal. So inflammation is neck and neck up there, right? So turmeric is excellent for defeating inflammation. It's something that you also want to take to boost your immune system, and it helps with your oxygen intake. Now, if you want to, talk like a third grader, explain it that they can understand, anything that keeps oxygen going through our bodies, we want, right? At the right pace, at the right speed, right? At the right intervals, oxygen moving correctly and blood flow moving correctly. We want that to be happening with consistency. When there's a stall, that's a German word. When I lived in Germany, they say, oh, there's a traffic stall, which is a jam. But there's a jam anywhere in there, that's when you start having problems, when you can't get oxygen to your brain, when you can't get blood to your heart, right? Those, these are heart attacks and strokes. We want things moving without interruption. And that's what one of the things turmeric helps us to do with oxygen. And of course, the more oxygen, on the right path that we're getting, the more alert we can be. And that helps with our energy levels too, right? The last second to last one is walnuts. So I've started to like walnuts. I really didn't have, I guess they were neutral, right? So I've started eating them, and I find I have an affinity to them. So walnuts are excellent for many reasons. Again, another high antioxidant, vitamin E. It helps to protect your neurons, right? So we're talking about the connection in the connectivity in your brain processing. And walnuts are also high in zinc and magnesium. And those are two things that, guess what? They actually help your mood. And when you're in a better mood, your brain is flowing, the ideas are coming. Because when you're in a mood and you're like, yeah, I'm hitting it. I'm in my rhythm. I'm in my zone. That's what a good mood can do for you versus being low and, depressed and Eeyore, like from Winnie the Pooh, everything is just, sad. And, it's like, hey, let's give our body what it needs to get into the proper frame of mind, frame of reference, and walnuts will do that. The last item on the list also is a brain booster. And this one is dark chocolate. People, what they want an excuse anyway. I think they just put this on a list because people love chocolate so much. With this, the darker the chocolate, the better, right? Dark chocolate actually helps with your focus and your concentration, and it boosts your endorphins. Your endorphins are your happy hormones, right? They make you feel good. Many people get like an endorphin rush when they're running. Sometimes you call it that runner's high, kicks in your endorphins. So that's very beneficial as well, dark chocolate. That's number 10. The bonus that Jim Quick said, which I thought was fantastic because you know how much we love this. The bonus that he mentioned was water. Water, yes. So we know water is good. We already knew that, but it's always great when you hear confirmation, people on the same page as you. It's always a blessing. So he talked about water, and I want to say also, when you're drinking water, all water is not created equal. So sticking your lips, like when I was a kid, right? We just put our mouth under the faucet and just drink water. It's so hot summer day, or go to the water hose and just drink from there, But now we don't do that anymore. we get it that it's a whole different level of processing, that we need water that's going to hydrate our cells and fill us from the inside out and help get the toxins out. So this is a thing that really turned out to be a blessing. Yes, CJ, you can eat chocolate, dark chocolate. Yes, you can, in moderation. I'm telling you that right now, in moderation, not while you're bouncing, right? So they actually have done many surveys, and they have found no Snickers, CJ, no, real chocolate, no. So I'm going to answer that. One thing, let me finish this thing about water. They have done research and found out that you can have two groups of people taking a test, one or memory test. One is hydrated, right, and the other's not. And then they'll come back, they'll leave, and they'll come back and retake it to see, how they do, or if they remember what they retain. And time after time after time, the hydrated brains are the ones who perform better every time. So we definitely want to keep our body, which is, we know 75% more than 75% water. We need to be replenishing that water on a regular basis. Now, back to CJ's question and Snickers. We want to remember, the quality. Do you think, who was that? Eminem, Mars, and somebody? I don't even know who makes that Snickers, but they're not for your health, CJ. They have other things in there. And that's another thing. That's a whole different thing. We can start reading labels, but we want rich dark chocolate, and that's, that'd be something fun to do, because guess what? It's going to be more expensive, which will be an incentive for you to buy it occasionally as a treat, right? So instead of buying, 10 Snickers, you can buy one rich, high quality chocolate and snack on it, occasionally. That would be a good, oh, I know, CJ. Yeah, don't edit this part out. That would be a good treat for yourself. So those are the 10 things. Water is a bonus. So to me, water is like, of course, water's on the list. We don't even have to remember that. So I'm going to give you a body memory tool that you can use to remember this lesson, and really any lesson that you want to, because I'm going to get back to helping you lay that calculator down occasionally, grabbing onto numbers, grabbing onto names, right? Remembering people, because, we're in the business of making people feel relevant. And the most important thing to someone is their name. And if you can't even remember their name, if I can't even remember their name, you're making a big statement. You're making a big statement that says, hey, it's not so much that you don't matter, that someone doesn't matter to you. It's just like, oh, you matter, but a whole lot of other things matter so much more that you got kind of pushed to the back, right? So if we could come up with some ways to retain, and when you see someone and you say their name, oh my gosh, you will make people feel so special. And it may or may not be that you're that much of a genius, but out of 10 people they see that day, you may be the only one who remembers their name. So one little thing that I do is, if I see someone with a badge on, I call their name. I mean, I'm like, well, they're wearing the badge. They must want me to know what their name is, right? And when I say their name, they look up and they're like, oh, and people literally have said to me, how do we know each other? How do you know me? And I'm like, I just read your badge, but it's something that people like to hear. People like to hear their name more than anything. So I'm just saying name is one good thing to remember. Let's talk about how we can remember this list. Because when you get into a conversation with someone and they say, hey, I'm trying to do better, or I'm having these senior moments, and you can say, hey, well, are you eating walnuts? How about dark green leafy vegetables? How about those? Any blueberries? You can kind of go through your list to help them, and they can start holding their diet up in the light. We want to see, well, what am I eating? So let's have that conversation. In order to do this, I'm going to ask you to be like a child. So I'm telling you that right up front. We're about to get really silly, but this is what Einstein said. He said that imagination is more important than intelligence. This is our guy, Mr. E = MC squared, said this. So let's use our imaginations, because this is what I'm learning. The sillier you are, the more grandiose you are in your mind, the more wacky your mental pictures are, the more you will retain information. That's what it is. Just be wacky, let it go, and you will never forget this. So I told my daughter this way to do this. And the next thing I'm going to tell you, I want you to remember as well, I want you to go teach someone else this, right? Because when you teach another person, you're learning for the second time. And that's literally sealing it, within your spirit. Every time you teach someone, you're sealing it. And when I teach people this, they get it. And I can ask them days later, well, what are the 10 foods? And they'll say, and they'll go through the list. So you guys ready? All right. This is a participatory event. So I want you to act with me as if I could hear you. We're going to go through 10 parts of our body, and I want you to say them with me. The first part, and I want you to do this with me as well. That's how we remember it. And I'm going to pretend I can see you. So put your pens down and get engaged. The first place is your head. Put your hands on your head and everyone say head. Yes, yes, I hear you. Head. Fantastic. The second, number two, is your nose. Everyone say nose. Uh-huh. No, Valerie, did you say nose? Okay, just checking. Number three, mouth. Everyone say mouth. Number four, neck. Everyone say neck. Number five, ears. All ears. Number six, just drop right down, shoulders. From your ears to your shoulders. Number seven, your chest. Your chest. Number seven, your chest. Number eight, your fingers. Fingertips even. Your fingertips. Number nine, your stomach, specifically navel. I want you to circle around your navel. And number 10, your seat. Your seat, your bottom. All right. This is how you're going to remember this. You're going to love this. I promise. I actually love it so much. And I have owned it. Now, Jim Quick teaches it in a slightly different way. I'm going to teach it to you this way, and you may want to change it to make it work for you. This is how it works for me, and I hope it's logical. Just make it logical for yourself. So let's begin. The first food we're going to go to, our first place on our body we talked about was our head. And it's easy to remember. This is the first one, right? Head is on the top. Avocado is on the top. Imagine a big avocado. And avocado starts with an A. So it's always easy to remember number one. Avocado sitting on top of your head. Now we're going to go to the second spot on our body, and that is our nose. And I want you to picture blueberries just coming out of your nose. You're blowing your nose, and every time you blow, you're just seeing these blueberries falling everywhere. And many are falling on the ground. So just see a sea of blueberries everywhere. You see blueberries everywhere, but some of them are being caught. They're being caught by something in your mouth, and it's broccoli. Like the branches of the broccoli are sticking out, and some of the blueberries are getting caught in the broccoli. So now you're seeing the blueberries sitting in the broccoli, and they are rolling over, almost down, but some are still getting caught here like a chain link fence. And around this fence, these are all green leafy vegetables. Some are blowing in the wind, but it's like a huge collar on your neck that are catching more blueberries. So again, you have the avocado, easy to start with. Go down to number two. Blueberries are coming out of your nose. Some of them are falling into the broccoli. Others are spilling over into the neck collar. So look at that. You got four good foods already. Fantastic. So all of this you're trying to catch, you're trying to balance all of this. And as you're moving back and forth, you're kind of hearing this swishing sound in your head. And as you lean, something's dripping out of your ears, and it's wet in both ears, and it's actually coconut oil. Like, how'd that get in there? It's just splashing everywhere. Coconut oil is coming out of your ears, and some of it is falling onto your shoulders, and that's okay, because you might need this to cook these eggs sitting on your shoulders. You got eggs, you're balancing them on your shoulders so that they won't fall, and you're trying to catch the eggs so they won't fall, and you look down, and oh my gosh, out of the periphery of your eye, you see these salmon swimming through your chest, going through just swimming upstream, literally like your chest is translucent and you can see fish swimming, and you're trying to grab. They're moving so fast, you're trying to grab them. As you try to grab them, you're actually they're getting, the salmon are pink, but they're now turning orange, and you're wondering, why are these salmon changing colors? And you look at your hands, and in your fingertips, you see all this orange stuff. It's the turmeric. The turmeric is in your fingernails, and you're trying to get it. You're trying to flick it out. And every time you flick it out, you're looking down, and some is flicking, with some is falling on your stomach, and out of your navel is coming, just like the blueberries, but out of your navel is coming these walnuts. They just won't stop. They're coming from every direction. They're popping in front of you. Huge walnuts, tiny walnuts, all different size walnuts. They just won't stop. And you're like, okay, I'm tired, I'm done. You look down, you have on white pants, and you sit down, just take a big rest, and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I just sit in? You guessed it, dark chocolate. Dark chocolate on the back of your white pants. Are you kidding me? You will remember that. You will remember that. Let's do it again. One more time. We're going to go through the list. Number one, avocado. No, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to ask you. So someone type it in. What's on top of our head? Someone type in, I just told you. Type in avocado just for, and guess what? As you type, that will help you remember as well. Number one on top of your head is, this is participatory. I need someone to answer me by typing. That'll be great, great, great. And I want someone to be ready for the next body parts. Who remembers number one? Because if you don't remember that, that's a reflection on me that I didn't teach you very well. Number one is avocado. The second body part is your nose. What's coming out of your nose? Who remembers? What's coming out of your nose? Thank you, Valerie and Justina. All right, we're off to the races. Avocado, yes. Now we're on number two. What's coming out of your nose? Who remembers these things that are just falling out of your nose in every direction? Blueberries. Thank you, Justina. Awesome, awesome. But not all of them are falling on the floor. Some are being caught by something that's coming out of your mouth. What's coming out of your mouth? What's catching some of the blueberries? What's catching some of the blueberries that are falling? I'm watching, typing. I'm watching. Remember, these things are reaching the branches of the broccoli. Thank you, Justina. The branches of the broccoli are catching the blueberries. Some are falling, though, and they're falling past this collar around your neck, which is kind of bushy. It's scratching your chin every time you turn. You can feel this on your neck. It's so much. And it's like a big collar around your neck. What is this? Dark green leafy vegetables. That's the next one. We definitely don't want to forget that one. And so you're doing the balance, right? So now the swishing is going on in your ears. What's coming out of your ears? Thank you, Sharon. Awesome, awesome. What's coming out of your ears? As you lean to one side, something comes out. As you lean to the other side, something's coming out of your ears. What is that? Who remembers? Not leafy veggies. They're not. I think you're at the other one, Valerie. Fantastic. What's dripping? That's a clue. What's dripping out of your ears? Awesome. Thank you, Justina. Coconut oil. Coconut oil. And as we're trying to balance that, we have two things on either shoulder, from our ears to our shoulder. What's sitting on our shoulders? That's the next item. Cocoa oil. All right, you guys are following. What's sitting on our shoulders now? The coconut oil is dripping onto this. All right, we're at coconut. Okay, what's after coconut oil? What's the next one? It's dripping. There we go, Sharon. Thank you. Sharon said eggs. Yes, eggs are sitting on our shoulders. Fantastic. We got the eggs going on. We look down and we see something going through our chest. That translucent picture. What is good for us? That's going swimming through our chest. That's a big key, swimming through our chest that we can see, and we know it's high in omega fats swimming through our chest. We can see. We're trying to catch it. I know someone's going to say it, so I don't want to say salmon. Thank you so much, Justina. I'll give you another fish that's great for you. Sardines, salmon, sardines. Both of them, 2 thumbs up. So then we're trying to grab the salmon. The salmon is turning from pink to orange because of what? What's all in our fingertips now that's ruining the salmon? What's stuck in our fingertips that's great for inflammation? That's great for building up our immune system. What's all stuck in our fingertips? And it's staining. It's so good, but it's also staining. It leaves that residue. Who remembers that? Great for inflammation. It's one of the hot things now. We say, there we go. Turmeric. Thank you. Thank you. Who said that? Diane. Thank you. Turmeric. Excellent. And then now, as we're dealing with the turmeric, we see something popping out of our navel. What is that? It's just, little ones, big ones, they're popping everywhere. We're walking, we're stepping on them, they're crunching. They're crunching because we're stepping on them. It's innumerable amount of these things popping out of our navels. They're great for zinc and magnesium. Remember that? Zinc, magnesium, and there you go, walnuts. Thank you, Justina. And now we're down to the very last one. And I'm just going to go ahead and call CJ out on this one. What's the 10th one? The 10th one that's great for our body, that helps with the endorphins, that helps with, focus and concentration. What's the 10th final one that got all over our white pants? All over our white pants that just ruined our day at the picnic. White pants, and you're sitting in this what? I know someone's going to get it because I know there are fans out here. I know there are fans of dark chocolate. Perfect. Thank you, Diane. Thank you. So now you got it. Now you have it. The 10 things. So this is why this is so good. If you're at the market, for example, you literally can go over your body to think of the 10 things that you need in your cart, right? To help you think better, process better, protect your brain, feed your brain, engage your brain, improve your memory. And guess what? This is a great example of a way to improve your memory. You want to get it engaged. You want to put your memory in gear so that as it starts to see patterns, it will literally create a passageway for you to navigate. We want to strengthen at every turn and bounce at every opportunity that we have so that we can work our memories like a muscle. And I'm going to really encourage you again that you've got to get these things into your cart and into your home. Because, these are 10 things, and I'm not saying to eat all 10 every day, but find a pattern that works for you that makes sense. So a couple of ways that I've seen people eat these. Some people put a lot of these into smoothies, right? If you can put like 4 of these ingredients into a smoothie, that's great. That's fantastic. You're 40% there, right? Sometimes I do salads. So if I do salads with dark green leafy vegetables, I can put avocado in the salad. I can put blueberries in the salad. I can put walnuts in the salad. So again, that's 40%. And then if I want to put maybe a meat type covering on it, I could, put bits of salmon in it. So that's five out of the 10 things, right? And of course, water is going to go with whatever we do, right? So we know that's always a great foundation, but just think about ways that make sense for you to live in a way as if you really do care about your brain. And your brain, of course, is the skull. So we want the mind, we want the physical part of it, but we want the intent, like the thoughts. We want our thoughts to be clear. We want our remembrances to be clear, things that we know, right? That we remember. We don't just want good long-term memory. We want short-term memory. We want to remember from room to room. Why did I come in here? What was I going to get? I can't remember. Oh, I don't know. You go back to the first room and then you sit down. You're like, oh yeah, I remember. You got to get back up and go back and retrieve the thing. We don't want to do that. We are banning that. We are, getting that, ejecting that out of our space because we are good we have great memories. And that's the last thing that I'm going to leave you with. I want you to speak life into yourself and into your capabilities. I want you, please remove words that are defying and limiting, because if the more you tell yourself that you can't do something, your body will co-sign. It's like, oh, sure, okay, yeah, I can't do that. And your body will come along and say, yep, poor memory, check. Slow at learning, check. Not good with numbers, check. Never been good at math, check. Not good at remembering people's names, check. Oh, I remember names but not faces, check. Stop all of that. You know what? I'm getting better at remembering names. Every day I'm getting better at numbers. This force has come out of nowhere. I'm really starting to enjoy this. I'm getting better at remembering things, not even using lists. I'm loving using my muscle memory. It makes me feel good about myself, and it makes me feel good about my capacity. I'm broadening my capacity, right? Those are life speaking words, thoughts, self conversations that you have, right? So start speaking that, because you are the one. You can watch all the media you want to watch. You can watch me, you can hear me and other coaches talk to you. You can watch all the YouTube videos that you want, but the voice that you're going to hear and believe more than anyone else is your own. So I am encouraging you to speak life into yourself and into your capacity and into your ability. And if it's not where you want it to be, don't focus on that. Focus on where you want it to be. Focus on the destination, that destination of having a stronger mind, greater capacity. I got a mind like a trap. I can get some information, I can process it, I can spit it out. Speak on where you want it to be, not where it is, because we are learning and we continue to learn to speak things that are not as though they are. That's how we're going to operate ourselves. So I'm encouraging you, call to action. Next time you go to the market, see how many of the 10 things that you can buy. And when you come back to the coach's corner, that time after the market, I want you to just give us a number out of 10. How many new things did you buy for your show, right? How many new things are you implementing into your diet, into your family's diet, into your lifestyle? That would be fantastic. So thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for, playing along with me. And please go and teach this to someone else so they too can be blessed and positioned in a way to protect their brain and live a life of joy and, up here with the endorphins high and mind excellent, because that's contagious. We want to be a blessing one to another. Thank you guys for being here. God bless, and I will see you on the next Coach's Corner. Take care. Eat well. Thank you, everyone.